How's it going, everybody? Today I am going to show you guys how to get the most potatoes out of the smallest amount of space using what is called a potato box. I'm going to show you how to build it and then how to set it up as well. Let's get started. So there's a couple things you want to think of first when creating your potato box. Do you want a base underneath or do you not? You can always have the potatoes grow straight into the ground all the way down. I don't like to do that because it's harder to dig up the potatoes at the end of the year that have grown into the harder ground. So I'm going to be using a base. All right, so here is the base that I'm going to use. It's our old doghouse bed, and why not? It works perfectly fine. So this bed is about 24 inches in size, but we aren't going to cover the whole thing. So I'm going to use 18 inches. It's going to be about this much space. So we're going to make a very small potato box today. 18 inches by 18 inches. To do this job, you're going to need a saw to cut the wood. Here's one of my 18-foot pieces right here. You're going to need at least 12 of these pieces. So let's get started with our cutting. We're going to finish our cutting here. I've only got a little bit of it done previously. And then I'll show you guys how to build each set. Okay, so I have all my wood pieces. And by the way, cedar is the best wood to use for this because it's weather hardy and it can take the soil without rotting as much as other wood will. So now I'm going to have to cut, using this long piece right here, the parts that will help it actually stack together and hold together. All right, so how much should you guys get as far as the lumber for your project? I am using 8-inch pieces and it's only going to be 1.5 feet long. It's going to be a smaller box because we're going to keep this for a little while and then we might actually give it to my sister. So the lumber prices are very expensive right now. But we're using 8-inch pieces. You want to at least have 3 rows of that. You're wanting your box to at least be 2 feet tall, okay? So 8 inches, 3 sets, 2 feet tall. 10 inches is the preferable for 3. Otherwise, usually with 8, you want to do 4 high, but you can always add more pieces later. That's what's great about this. If you do, and you have a budget, you only want to do 3 or so boxes, you can always add more the next year. You can add another layer of boxes. So with each box height, you're going to need 4 pieces of whatever length your box is going to be. Ours is 1.5, so we have 12 total pieces at 1.5 foot length. We have a total of 18 feet worth of lumber that we had to buy. Cedar is the best lumber to buy. Then I prefer to use a 2x2, but we've got this 1-inch by 2-inch cedar as well, which is going to be what we're using to join our boxes together. And then I use 1 5/8 inch screws. So for your first layer, and this is very important and you'll see why when we get farther into the construction project. If you're using an 8-inch board, you want it to be a half size length for your sturdy and what you're going to be screwing into to hold the pieces together. So this is a 4-inch length piece here for my 8-inch board. And the reason why we're going to be doing this is because the pieces from the board above this is going to be sliding into this spot right here and this spot right here. And so we can't have this board here and have everything fit together. But you want to do this on the bottom side here, and you want to make sure when you're cutting and doing everything that you're nicely cut and your sanded side is on the outside. I always like to use more screws than necessary because these boards, being as thin as they were, will split every now and then. So I'll use quite a few screws. Screws are cheaper than doing it over. And if it does split a little bit, that's fine. Don't try to sink these screws too far into the board or it will split really, really bad. So we just need to join these 2 boards together with 2 more boards to create our first box. And it's gonna kind of look like that right there. All right, let's get to work. All right, everybody, so I have my first box level made, and as you can see, 4-inch pieces are on the bottom of this because when my next box sits in here, it's going to have a piece on the bottom of it that slides right into that spot and sits on top of that, just like that. Okay, so everybody, now I'm making my second level of my box, and every single level past this is going to be built the exact same way. Okay, but I have 4 inches on my first level to put the box together. For this one, I'm going to have 4 inches to put it together on the bottom, just like the last one, but then I want another 3 inches to help it set into the box below it. That will hold it into place, where you don't have to use screws to keep screwing things into place, because that gets really difficult. Okay, everybody, so where I want to put these on this next set here is I want to go the first 4 inches here is where I want it to set, and then I want it to go the 3 inches past that. So I'm going to make a mark on the board here at 4 inches so that these pieces will go up to it but not past it. As you guys can see here, what I do with my second, third, fourth, and so on box pieces, not the first layer but the second and layer and above, is I actually like to overlap my box piece of wood here just a little bit more than this so that it will fit in the box correctly, because if these things are a little crooked this way, it won't fit in there. But if I overlap them a little bit and make them slightly tilt towards the inside, they'll always fit in. You never can do it wrong that way. Okay, everybody, so this is what you want your pieces to look like. First pieces of your second level through whatever level you're going to go through. See, now I got my 4 inches from here to the bottom of the wood, and then I've got about 3 inches past, because let's face it, an 8-inch board is not an 8-inch board anymore. This one's more like 7 1/4. Reason why this is going to be like this and these ones were set in like that is because when you put your next layer inside of here, it's going to sit just like that. Okay, and so these boards back here will hold against the other boards and hold your whole thing together. All right, last screw done on the second row. Let's see how this fits. Okay, so your second row should look like this. Okay, you've got your 4 little prongs here and your box made. And as you can see, and it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, it fits right in to the last layer. Okay? And then what you're going to do when you do this is you're going to start your potatoes in this box filled up with dirt, you know, up until about 1 inch before the top, or maybe 2 inches before the top or so. As the potatoes grow, once they get 6 inches above the ground, you then add this next layer in, and you fill it with dirt all the way up until this point. And the potato plants that are above the ground should barely be above the ground at this point again, and they will grow up again. But then this area down in here will all start filling with potatoes again, because it likes to grow potatoes near the top. And that's how you are tricking your plants into growing more potatoes in a smaller amount of space. So then you guys can see where I'm going with this. I'm going to have a third layer on this, but you can build 4, 5, even 6 layers high. If you go above that, God bless you, because that's a lot of potatoes. I hope you really like them. Okay, everybody, so we have the third box done. This is the last layer I'm going to show you guys today, because once you complete the first 2, 3 layers, it's just a matter of repeating to go up from there. Charlotte, do you approve of the project? All right. Okay, let's get this third box in here. If I can do this with the camera in my hand, which is more difficult than I would like to say it is. All right. We have our 3 boxes. They don't line up 100% perfectly, but I kind of built this a little quicker. But the dirt will sit in there, your potatoes will grow, and this whole box will be just full of potatoes. Okay, everybody, so we have our potatoes planted. We filled this box up with the dirt, then put our potatoes in there. When these potato plant leaves get about 6-7 inches high, we will then put in our next box, and you want to make sure that you get it to where it's down to the bottom, so we got to dig out some of the dirt and stuff. And then we'll fill this up with dirt. And then these plants, we want to make sure when we fill it with dirt that there's about 2 inches or so of leaves above the level of the dirt. Then we let it grow even higher, and we add our next layer over here, and we keep going, and so on and so forth for however many boxes you have. If anybody does have any questions or anything you guys want me to elaborate a little bit more on, I can follow up this with a second piece and go over some things that people didn't quite get the first time. So let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys on the next Ward House episode, and maybe I'll do a few more projects in the future. Have a good one, everybody. See you later, and good luck with your potatoes.